Michelle. I'm back again today to show you my 2018 setup in my composition notebook bullet journal. I will link everything down below, all my products and the printables and everything like that, so I don't have to keep saying that as I go along, but I'll just give you kind of a quick little look. This I got from a different planner, and it's got this loop on it that holds my highlighter, my Staedtler Tri Plus fine liner, which I love, and then just whatever pen that I want to use to write with. And I use that to keep everything in place. This gives me sort of a traveler style system for my composition notebooks, because I'd like to keep my main bullet journal, and then I like to also have a writer's bullet journal. And I have a video both on my writer's bullet journal if you're interested in that, and I have a video kind of just on the system as a whole, so I won't go into that too much right now. I just want to show you kind of what I'm doing for 2018 and how it's different if it's different. Unless I say otherwise, all of my printables are from Boho Berry, and I will definitely link that on down below. So this is a 28 printable from Boho Berry, and I just really liked it, and I'm going to go in and color at least a few of these, just, you know, because I like to color sometimes. And this is about as decorative as I get. Printing out stuff that other people have designed and washi tape, that's about as decorative as I get. Okay, so this is a slight change that I made from last year. I went ahead and washied my 2018 calendar right on in here. Before, I was sticking it under here because this composition notebook will last me about 4 months. The idea was if I stuck it here, I would just stick it in there for the next one. But I found that the edges started to get a little bit worn, and it was more of a hassle than it was worth, and I'll just print it again next time. Then, of course, is my index next. I always like to have my first official page as my brain dump. Oh, and I had a question in one of my other videos about what these tabs are for. So these are reusable tabs, and they're these tabs here, the post-it tabs, and I just use them to mark the things that I know I'm going to go to often. So like my brain dump, I always want to be able to find that quickly, so I know that first tab is always for my brain dump, so that I can go ahead and write anything down when I'm thinking about it, and I don't have to kind of page through. And then the other tabs all mark important things like my monthly spread, my weekly spreads, that kind of thing. So this, I have a page for affirmations and quotes that I kind of stumble upon through the year that I really, really like. And then this is for my 2018 goals. I only have 4 here. There are more. I just haven't finished filling it out yet because I'm still brainstorming a bunch of really what I want to do. But so there's just a couple of things in here. Like to finish organizing my house with the KonMari, which I did not finish last year, although I made really good progress. I'm proud of that. But I definitely want to do that this year. I also have just a fun goal for 2018. I want to try 1 new recipe per week, and so like I want to track kind of how far I get with that, and I'm still looking for a page that's going to allow me to track that. So any cool ideas you have about that, let me know, because I would love to see that. And there's one other thing that I'm going to ask you guys about too as we get closer in. Alright, so then next is my future log. I love my future log. The change I made this year was because I've already done my monthly and weekly spreads for January. I figured there's no point in having it in my future log. So I started my future log with February, and it's going through January 2019. And that way I can, write down everything I need to write. This year I'm putting like events that I know down at the bottom of the box, and then other things as they come up, birthdays, whatever, other stuff like that are going up, will go in the top. These are the things that transferred over from my last bullet journal that were still relevant. Other things are going to come up. I will be able to put them down so that as I create each monthly spread, I will have a list of the things that I jotted down that I needed to keep track of, that I didn't have my spreads created yet, because of course the great thing about the bullet journal is having the flexibilities to change as you go. So creating a whole journal for a year is really not what we do, right? So the next page is my waiting on page, and this is something that is just super helpful for me. Like anytime I order something, or if I have something coming for my blog that I need to review, writing down when, once I have it confirmed that it's been sent out, so I know to look for it, because things get lost, and this way I'm right on top of, when it shows up. And the older I get, the more my brain does not want to track these things. So this is a page that I love, and that is one of the reasons why it has a tab. And you'll see that my future log also has a tab, because that's something I need to go to a lot. This page is just things to check out. So I keep a running list of like books I know I want to read, movies. So anytime somebody recommends something to me, I'll jot it down. All right, so on this page, we've got Getting Things Done, and this is the David Allen system of getting things done. Again, a printable from Boho Berry. I just shrunk it down so I could put all three in a row here. So anytime I need to kind of remind myself to organize stuff, that's right there. And then the rest of this is my projects list. So for each basic area of my, my personal life, so my writing, my blog, just other stuff like, the organization of the house, my KonMari stuff, my genealogy stuff, and then of course the someday maybe, which may or may not ever be gotten to. And this is mostly like hobbies, as you can see. But this gives me a list of everything that's active so that I can kind of go through and make sure that I'm paying attention to everything I need to be paying attention to, and not, overlooking some project that is important that should be, that I should be revisiting. And yeah, you'd be like, yoga, meditation, what is that there for? Well, that's going to be, part of my goals is I want to sort of increase the amount of yoga that I'm doing and the way I'm approaching yoga, and the same thing with my meditation. So I do consider that to be projects because I want to kind of build on what I'm already doing. So kind of the steps that are involved in that are, I consider that more of a project rather than just like a task that I'm tracking. All right, so this is my project dashboard, and this is one of the reasons why I love composition notebooks, is because I can do this fun stuff with the post-it notes, and it's like the perfect size for me to get 3 columns of post-it notes. So for this, I had this before. I made a slight change. So before I had project and then next action, and that was it. And I decided that actually that was getting a little confusing because what I needed was an additional column that this is my main project. Then this breaks it down sort of into the phase of that project. And then this is my next action. So for Deadly Avatar, which is a book that I've written, I am querying it, but that's not exactly the next action. The next action is I need to research more agents, or I need to actually send out 5 letters, or I need to whatever. So for me, organizationally speaking, and when it comes to planning every month, my monthly goals and my weekly goals and that kind of thing, I felt like this breakdown was better. And you can see that I've also kind of color coded it so I can quickly look, okay, this is, pink is the project, blue is the phase, and yellow is the next action. And I go through and these get crossed off and things as a change. But it just looks really super clean right now because it's the beginning of the year. All right, next is my project writing future log. So this is the same thing like my future log, but it's just for my writing projects because I want to plan out and have at least a 6-month, you can see here 6-month plan for what I'm doing for each of my books that I'm working on. And I'm actually going back and forth about whether or not I should move this into my writing journal. And I think I actually probably am going to move that into my writing bullet journal, because this only lasts me usually 4 months by the time I'm done, when I go through all of the months and the monthly spreads and the weekly spreads and all that stuff. Whereas my writing journal seems to last me a little bit longer. So I'm thinking it might be more effective there. So I write down for each month what my plan is with each project. So for example, The House, which is the book that I'm writing right now, I'd like to be able to finish it in January, by the end of January, so that's my goal. By the end of February, I usually put my books aside for a month or 2 before I start revising them so that I can get some, some perspective on them. So for all of February, that one's going to be resting while I do other things. I'm going to actually do it probably for 2 months just because I've got a couple of other projects that I want to write and revise. So I've got enough time to let it have a nice good rest. But then by April, I want to start revising it. So in April, I'm going to revise it. I'm going to revise it in May. I think it's going to need at least 2 months to revise it. And then hopefully my goal is by June to send it out to beta readers. So that's the plan. And then in theory, I would have beta reader comments back by July, and then I would revise. But that's the ideal. But what I found is that I set up my 6-month plan, and that gives me something to work towards, and that's really effective for me. But almost always, by the time 6 months rolls around, a bunch of things have happened. So like the last thing that happened was I had a revise and resubmit request from a publisher on a book that I had submitted. So it's sort of, that became a top priority over other things that I had prioritized. So everything kind of got shifted around. So by the end of this 6 months, you'll see things crossed out and rewritten. And then that's why as I move forward, I'm going to have that space to adjust that. And whenever I need to kind of project that out, I have that free. All right, the next is for my blog project breakdown. So that's another big project, main project area that I have. So what I do here is these are review items that I've either been sent or that I purchased that I want to review. And I write down all of the different phases that I need to go through. So I need to make a video review, edit the video, post the video. I don't do video reviews for everything. So, you know, when I get, eventually there'll also be more polishes on here. Actually, I just got some polishes I need to add. I don't do videos for the polishes, but I do swatches for the polishes. So we've got, you know, I'll have swatches, or I do a nail art mani. I edit it, post it. Link video, link blog, which that means in the relevant places on social media, and make sure I post things on Instagram. So that's what all that is. Also, one of my, actually, and I have to write this in my goals, but one of my things that I'm changing for 2018 is I used to do a lot of nail art challenges, and I started doing so many reviews that I got out of the habit of that, but I really enjoy it and I miss it, so I'm starting to do challenge manis again. So this just means like themes. So like if you're, you know, the theme is Easter, you do Easter themed nail art. So I'm using this to track and write what the challenge requires and what I've planned to do in order to fulfill that challenge, and then a column to mark it off when I am done. So I make sure that I'm not falling behind. All right, so this is for my KonMari stuff with the organization, and I'm going to go through and write this out for all of the rooms in my house that I still have to do, but I wanted to get this video up before the beginning of the year, so I just did this for an example. So I made a fair amount of progress on my bedroom last year, so I'm going to be finishing that and then doing my living room next. Now the KonMari method, I know you guys out there that know it are going to scream and yell at me because you're not supposed to actually go by place, you're supposed to go by type of object, and I am mostly doing that. So you'll see like I did all of my clothes, so all of the things that are clothes related, but my types of objects tend to be sort of space specific. And then there have been a few other things going on in my life, like visitors that required me to clean up certain spaces. So that's why it seems like I'm not following the rules, because I'm not. All right, and then this is the other thing I want to ask you guys about. I want to do some sort of project tracker breakdown. So you can see like this was for my blog, that's how I do that. And then of course, that's for my writing. My genealogy that I'm working on, I haven't quite been able to settle on a spread that I think would be really effective for that. So if there are any of you out there that are bullet journalers and genealogists that have spreads that work for you, I would love to see them, or if you know of any, or any that you think might be relevant, I would love it if you linked me, because I'm still trying to find the one that's going to work best for me for that. So that's why that is blank. All right, next we have, this is my cross project tracker. So I'm the sort of person that, and I've mentioned this before, that I tend to underestimate the amount that I'm actually getting done, and then I get anxious, and then I feel bad about myself, which of course undermines my motivation. So what I like to do here is write down like my next action, but then I cross it off when I've done it, and then I write down the next, and then I've got this running list of everything that I've done. So like at the end of the month or the end of the year or whatever, I can go back and go, wow, I really did do a lot of stuff, even if it doesn't feel like I did. And that just kind of helps keep me motivated and helps keep me feel good about my progress, which I think is really important, at least for me. And this is my blog dashboard, and usually it has a lot more of the post-its, but I haven't created the new ones for the new year yet. But this just, I put a post-it in depending on what I need to do next. So if it's pending, that means it's an item that I have that I haven't done anything with yet, and I need to start. Then, you know, if I know that my next step is to make the video, edit the video, post the video, etc., whatever. But, and I also have this color coded. So these are items that I bought myself. These are items that were sent for review, and obviously the ones that are sent for review are a higher priority. So right away I can like quickly see, like if I've got a bunch of stuff that I videos that I need to edit, and like I got a ton of post-its here and nowhere else, I know I need to clear myself an afternoon where I'm not going to have any distractions, where, you know, my husband's not going to be watching the TV super loud, where I can sit and listen in quiet to edit the videos that I need to edit. So that kind of allows me to, at a glance, plan out the next thing that I need to do. And that's why I have that in addition to the other project lists that you saw before. This is grocery staples, and this just, you know, I'm a couponer, and so sometimes you get certain coupons. Like one of the things that Safeway does, which is one of the places I shop, is they'll give you like $5 off of 25. And so for a few days, you'll have a coupon that's worth that. That's a pretty good savings. And so there are certain things that never ever go on sale. So like, there's a gumbo base that I love to make gumbo, and it just doesn't ever go on sale. So when I get that $5 off of 25, I know I want to stock up on certain of these kinds of things. And so I like to have that list. And then whenever I go to Costco, it seems like I always forget something. So this is a list of all the basic things I get repeatedly at Costco that I know I need to pick up, so that I can always, when I'm making my list, look at it, and that'll help me. This I haven't completed yet because this is a new spread for me this year, but I saw a number of people have tasks lists that they keep track of in one form or another that lists all their daily things they have to do each day, weekly, and then monthly. And I don't know why, like when you have tasks that you have to do every day, you wouldn't think that you would forget them, but I think maybe my brain forgets on purpose. I don't know. But so this is going to help me remember each thing that I need to make sure that I'm doing each day, each week, each month. And it's not full yet because I'm still brainstorming that. So hopefully I'll get that done before the new year. I always leave a page clear before I get into my monthlies and my weeklies, because there's always something, some idea that I see that I like, or something I've forgotten. So I always like to leave at least one page blank, or even if like my brain dump fills up or whatever. So then, and that's what I love about the bullet journal, all that flexibility. All right, so then we're going to get into my monthly spreads, and you can see now I have a tab here, but I also have this. I always start the beginning of each month. I always mark this so that as my progress goes on in the bullet journal, there'll be several, and I can, you know, flip to whichever month I need to if I need to. But this tab also is always on my current month. So this is traditional bullet journal stuff. Lists out your entire full month. And you put, you know, like any appointments or whatever you have there. I'm still figuring out and kind of pulling over the stuff that I've written in my, you know, my online calendar and that kind of thing. This is a little trick I do for things that don't fit on my daily task list, my weekly task list, or are specific. They're monthly, but they're specific for a date. So like flea medication for my cats and my dog, that's a monthly task, but if I just put it on my monthly task list, I will forget when they're due. So I do this, and then I will, for like this one, I will put it on my February, when I make up my February one, I will put it there, or I will stick it over here where it says done for the month, and I'll write the date next to it when I have to do it next. Same thing, I get a vegetable box sent, and I have to pick my veggies, and that happens every 3 weeks. So it's not every month, which makes it, tracking it, a little bit, you know, chaotic. So I like to put these in here, and I've got a couple of other things which again I just haven't stuck in yet because I'm revamping what I'm tracking and what I'm not tracking. Then on this side, this is the same printable that you saw right here. I just printed out a second one, and for each month I'm going to cut one of these out. I always put it here so I can see the full month if I need to. These are tasks. This is kind of a running task list that sort of as it happens, what I need to, what I know that I need to do. And I write it down here, and then I also end up with like phone numbers scribbled down or other information scribbled down that I need to do my tasks. This is something that I really love. It's another blogger that I will link down below, and it's I don't think I have an explicit tag, so I'll just say it's how to get your bleep together, and I'll have the word down there down below. But one of the things that she said, you know, we all know that we need to make to-do lists in order to be on task and make sure we don't forget anything. But one of the things that she talked about in one of her videos that I found out I absolutely do is I have a habit of making my to-do list, and then I'll go and I'll do the ones that I want to do, right? The ones I'm excited to do, or I'm more, you know, I'll do those first, and then I'll procrastinate on the other ones that I don't want to do. And then I'm annoyed with myself that they never end up getting done, and that puts pressure on myself. So her suggestion was at the beginning of your day, you prioritize the things that are most important and you do those first. And so you're not tricking yourself into procrastinating by thinking you're getting things done on your to-do list, which you are, but it's not actually the ones that you're supposed to be doing. So what this is this allows me each day to kind of write down of the things that I need to do, I can write down the stuff I need to do and that's most important, and then I can prioritize and make sure that when I'm filling out my other stuff that I am taking care to make sure I'm doing the most important thing first. And that's why it's flip out, so that I can kind of write and then I can kind of look wherever I need to look as I'm doing stuff. All right, so then the next page, this is my January 2018 goals, and you can see I messed that up and wrote the wrong thing. Again, why I love the bullet journal, we can just go, oops, mistake, and just white it out or whatever we need to do to go on. Okay, so the first thing I generally do is write down which of my projects are active, and then that tells me like what my next, I can break that down into my next steps on each of my projects. Then, you know, I'll have all that done for when I need to break it down weekly and daily. At the end of the month, I go through and I look at how I did. If I didn't accomplish as much as I want to, I try to look at why that happened and be honest with myself about what I need to do differently. If I did really great, I'll write why I did really, really great in that space. So it's not only just improvements, it can be kudos too, but I'll be honest, most often it's improvements. On this page, this is my January tracker. This is by Boho Berry. I'm changing up a little bit what I'm tracking, which is why, again, it's not all completely filled out. I think there are going to be some new things that I'm tracking. And I can do a video about that if you guys are interested. She does the mood tracker here, and I have never done that before, but I'm going to give it a shot. Let's see how that goes. All right, then on my next page, I've left this blank, 2 pages, one for my 2018 recap, and I like to use this page as sort of like a mini scrapbook for the cool things that happen, or, you know, not always cool, but the things that happened in my life during January 2018. I also use it if I need to write down any notes. This page I've left blank for now, in case I need something else, you know, or maybe I'll just decide to use 2 pages for my January recap. We will see. All right, then we go into my weekly spreads. So this I've done almost the same, but I've made a few changes from the way that I've done it in the past. So this is my weekly spread, and I'll take my monthly goals and then I'll break them down into what the goals that I need to do for this week. So I'll look and I'll say, okay, that of my blogging goals, this is what I need to do for this week. So like for the Digital Dozen manicures, those I need to do the first week of the month if they're not already done, because I need to post them the second week. But the crazies, those are different days. So I may not have to do that at all, the nail crazies art, at all the first week. So it wouldn't get put here, but the Digital Dozen would. So that's the idea there. And I have another video on project planning that I will link down below for you if you're interested in how I use my bullet journal to break down my projects into manageable goals. I like to put something here that's a little inspirational or whatever. This is a little bit different, so I put social and personal. Especially when I get busy and really focused on work or, you know, something I'm doing, I tend to sometimes forget to take care of myself, to self-care, and sometimes I can end up kind of just, because I work from home a lot of the time, I end up kind of isolating, just work, and not getting out and seeing people. And this is just a reminder to make sure that I'm not forgetting to take care of myself and I'm not neglecting my personal relationships. And just like I do for the month, I do a week in review just to see what's working and what isn't. I like to plan out my daily tasks and appointments for an entire week. I know some people do day by day by day. This just makes more sense for me so I can get a view of what my week is going to look like. And it also allows me to take my weekly goals and break them down by day. So if I know I need to write like 20 pages or revise 20 pages in a book, I can say, okay, I want to do 4 pages, 4 pages, 4 pages, 4 pages, 4 pages, 4 pages, or, you know, whatever it is that I need to do. I put my to-do here, like for January 1st, eat, because I have some appetizers that I plan to be putting out a spread, and I intend to eat, so woohoo! And then I put like whatever my events or special things about the day, appointments, whatever I put on that side, so that I quickly have that look there, and then I can track my to-dos as I go along. And so you'll see that these are all the same, except for, you know, a little bit slightly different, little inspirational thought for the week there. Oh, one thing that I forgot actually to put in here, and I'm glad I'm remembering now, is I put a post-it note for things that I need to pick up from the grocery store, and a Post-it note for things that I need to pick up from Costco. And then what I do is I jot it down here when I'm thinking about it, and then when I go, I just pull it up and stick it to the case, the holder on my phone, and then I've got it right there as when I need it. Oh, and that's where this comes in handy, is then I can take, whatever I have for the day, I can track it, put, double check, make sure nothing else is here that I'm forgetting, prioritize, and then, I can make sure I usually put like 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever next to the items, so I know that I'm not fooling myself into spending time doing the things that are not as important. Okay, and that's it for, how I set up. I'm sure it'll change a little bit, and I'll do another video when that happens. And one of the things that I love about this composition book is the back page of the composition book here. I stick the Post-its on it, so they're always there when I need it. Obviously they don't come off, and I can stick all kinds of whatever else in there that I need, and I love that. So that's it for what I'm doing to begin 2018 in my book. And if there are any questions you have, or if there's anything that you would like, any videos you would like me to do explaining anything, let me know. I will link everything down below. And thank you so much for watching.